We are recording and welcome everybody to the Friday 11 o'clock class. We are in book number 134, the AFI's 100 Years, 100 Songs. And the song for today is Thank Heaven for Little Girls. And if there's time, we will also throw in Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Try to spell that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Remember that when I am teaching or when I am doing fingering and chords, please try to keep yourselves muted so I don't have too many microphones going back and forth and causing distractions. Um, if you get lost and you need to stop me and absolutely yell at me and say, stop, I need, I missed this, then go ahead and unmute yourself and yell at me. I'm okay. I can take it. All right,
Yeah.
we've got some fabulous things happening. We are having a mysterious, majestic, magical, musical, recreation musical celebration coming up Tuesday and Wednesday. So we will not be teaching our regular Zoom classes Tuesday and Wednesday, with the exception, David, of the level 1 at 2:30. We will be still be doing that one. Otherwise, all of you will be having your workshops and your concerts online, and those links will be sent to you, always 3 hours ahead of time. Everything will be explained to you. There will be 3 workshops throughout the day. You will come to 1 throughout the day because what they're doing is dividing it up by organ size. Organ size. So it'll be the small organs will go to one workshop, the medium organs will go to another workshop, and then the bigger organs with the touch screens go to another workshop. So kind of like an organ fest where you all had to go to your different rooms. You remember how you had to do that? Same type of a thing. And then there'll be a break, and I do believe at the end there will be a finale. So lots of good stuff happening Tuesday and Wednesday, and that will start at 1 o'clock Florida time. So that way the people who are out west in Arizona and Idaho, they can all click in as well and not have to get up at the crack of dawn for this. Okay? So watch your emails. You'll be getting lots of advertisements, and I think you're going to really like what we have planned for you. And I get to be part of the concert on Wednesday, so I'm kind of excited. I've got some really cool stuff planned, so we'll have a good time. We always have anytime you get Fletcher Music Center people together, we always have a good time. That's the one thing you can always count on. Okay, the song for today, Thank Heaven for Little Girls. By the way, before I get into this, I will be putting in a book order either later today or Saturday morning. So if you are in need of a Christmas book, and there have been some people that did come in and give me their numbers or emailed me and gave me the book that they might want. I know a lot of you already have a lot of Christmas books. We will not be having them in the store for sale because we just don't have the foot traffic. So if you need me to order them, I will be putting a book order in either tonight or tomorrow. Email me and let me know what you want. Go to halleonard.com to look at them. Go to their Easy Play section. You just type in Easy Play Christmas, and you can look at the books online. Then email me, and I'll order them all for you. And then you don't have to worry about paying any shipping charge. We'll take care of all that. Got
It
it?
doesn't have to be Christmas, right? You can order any book.
Oh, absolutely. Any book you want. Absolutely. Yep. Any book you want at this point.
You want to get an ABBA book.
Perfect. Shoot me an email. Let me know.
Okay.
I will be very happy to do that. Okay, Thank Heaven for Little Girls, 1957. It's a Lerner and Loewe song. We are on page 253, by the way. And this song is pretty much exclusively associated with Maurice Chevalier. And he's the original performer of this song. It was opened and it closed the 1958 film Gigi. Alfred Drake performed the song in the 1973 stage production on Broadway. There was also a 2015 revival. Okay, who knew? And this was considered number 56 on the AFI's 100 Years, 100 Songs, so about halfway through. Bing Crosby recorded the song for his radio show in 1960. And then there were a lot of other people that decided it's a fabulous song, so they had to sing it. Rosemary Clooney, Perry Como. Here's one that kind of got my interest. Merle Haggard. Okay. How about this one? Hugh Hefner. Think about that one. Ed McMahon, Pete Sellers in a faux feud. I didn't get that whole thing. Okay. Oh, and a faux French accent. That's what that is. Peter Sellers did a fakey Frenchy accent when he was trying to do this. It was also rewritten for a Mountain Dew commercial in 1996. And if you take a look at that, it was done by a girl rock band. And it's actually pretty interesting because they're all kind of a punk rock band and they're trying to be real tough. So that was actually very interesting to watch that. The Mountain Dew commercial, thank heaven for little girls. Yeah. That's song setup brings this up to Jingle Jangles. So I think I'm just going to play it. And that's the Jingle Jangles is just one of my all-time favorite backgrounds for all things light and fluffy. Oop, I got to let Marjorie in. Hello, Marjorie. Thanks for your patience. I like this Jingle Jangles. It's good for Christmas music, but it's also good for these light and fluffy Broadway musical type things. So we're going to do Thank Heaven for Little Girls on Jingle Jangles. That just makes you feel good listening to that background, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just a nice, bouncy, light feeling. Now, what other backgrounds can be used on this? Actually, swing and sway. That was, by the way, Jingle Jangles at 128 beats a minute. Swing and sway, I found, was also very good. Those of you that have Gypsy Rag, that's a wonderful bouncy background. On the smaller instruments, on your Freedom 3, Standards, Swing Time, or Standards Gypsy Jazz. On your easies, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 10s, 7s, standard guitar swing is very nice, or pop pianist, which is a ragtime background. On the fanfare, and that would also include like your Journey and Inspire, standard guitarist, both groups 1 and 2. So check out both groups 1 and 2 for the standard. One of them is a gypsy rag type of a bounce. So good stuff. Just keep it light. You notice there were some flutes on the bottom. It was piano and strings on top. And you could also use any of the big band instruments to make it sound really nice. And I have lots of chords. Now, you don't have to play all the chords. And they're not hard chords. But the arrangement that I had have chords 1 per note in many cases. So it's going to, yeah. I saw Helen's face. She's like, woo! 1 chord per note. It's a lot of 1-finger chords per note, but it's going to help you with coordination of 2 hands. So that's kind of important in this song. So let's get started. The note chord is fine right where it is. Cross out the F and replace it with E, elephant. for one note. There you go. That's the first one. And then over the C for ven, put your F back in. So you're going to do heaven, and you're going to be using two different fingers on this hand and two different fingers on this hand, and you're going to be doing a note and a note. So it's a little bit of a little challenge to coordinate fingers and chords at the same time. Let's go to measure 2. Once again, you are going to have one chord per note. So over the E, put an E, elephant. Over the F, put an F, fish. Over the G, put a C, chicken. And then in the next line, over the A for girls, put in an F, fish. Got it? All right. That's it for that whole second line. You're going to play the rest of that on F. Let's go to the third line. Cross out the F minor and replace it with D diminished. Now, if you'd rather play F minor, that's okay. But if you want to learn a new chord, D diminished is a two-fingered chord. The mathematical ruling for a diminished chord is the letter plus 6. So you're looking at D and A flat. D and A flat. And the difference is, here's the F minor. They both sound fine, by the way. Here's F minor. Here's the D diminished. So they'll both work. They will absolutely both work. But if you want to challenge yourself a little bit, push yourself with that D diminished, because the more you play them, the more natural they will start to be. That's it for that line. Let's go to the next line. And oh boy, it's another one chord per note situation. The G minor chord is good for 2 counts. Beat 3, which is right after you play the D for Ben. Play a D or D7, which is C and D, chickens and dinosaurs. The next measure, beat 1. Over that blacked in quarter note, put in a G minor, gorilla minor, which is G and B flat. Gorilla and butterfly flat.
Okay, where are you now?
I'm on the last line, the
Yeah.
beginning of the second measure.
Okay.
Again, over that blacked in quarter note, G minor, G and B flat. Beat 2. Over the F sharp, put in a C diminished, chicken diminished, which the two notes are C and F sharp. Over the G, G minor, G and B flat. Over the A, D or D7, excuse me, D7, which is C and D, chickens and dinosaurs. And then over the C whole note, the last measure of that first page, C diminished, C and F sharp. Okay, now what happens if you don't feel like playing all those chords? Just play G minor for the whole line. Don't just pull out one chord. This one I would just play G minor for the whole line. If you want to end on that C diminished, that would be fine. But if you want to challenge yourself, you're doing one note and one chord, and it is going to be a little bit of a finger exercise, which is actually kind of fun. Let's go to the second page. Top line, top measure. Over the whited in dotted half note, G minor or G minor 7, which would be F, G, and B flat. Fish, gorillas, and flat butterflies. Second measure, cross out the C and replace it with B flat, butterfly flat, for one note. Over the A quarter note, beat 2, the word is up. C or C7. Now you're going to put that back in. Okay, let's go to the third measure. Beat 4. Over the last note of the measure, put a C augmented, C-A-U-G. That's a 3-fingered chord. C chicken, E elephant, and G sharp, sharp gorillas. Now again, that's only for one note, so if you don't get to it, you can skip that one. Second line, the F chord is good for 2 counts. Beat 3 in that first measure, C diminished, C and F sharp. And then the C7 and the F7 are fine, so you're good for the rest of the line. Third line, first measure, fourth beat, over the F for up, uphealing. Put in a C sharp augmented, which is C sharp, F, A, sharp chickens, fish, and alligators. Now, there's a mathematical rule for augmenteds, by the way. It's the letter plus 4 plus 4 more. Got it? That's good for 1 count, by the way. So again, if you want to skip it, go ahead. The B flat, make that a B flat major 7, capital MAJ7. The rule for that is the letter minus 1. So you're looking at A and B flat at the same time, right next to each other. Then over the G, beat 3, go back to a plain old B flat. So you're going to play the B flat major 7, and you're going to lift and put your thumb down on the B flat. Okay. That's good for that line. Let's go to the fourth line. If you wish, you may put a 7 on the D minor right off the bat. So your notes would be C, D, F, chicken, dinosaur, fish. Let's go to the last measure of that line. Cross out the C and replace it with G minor or G minor 7. G minor is G and B flat. If you wish to add the 7.
Sorry, Dawn, my phone was ringing.
I
Okay,
know,
the
it's
la-
okay.
The last one I have is a D minor 7 on line 4.
Yep, we're still on line 4.
Okay,
The end of the line,
yeah,
cross out the C,
okay,
replace it with G minor or G minor 7,
okay,
and then beat 3 of that measure over the G for ing, put in a C7, put that chord back in, which is C and B flat.
thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go to the fifth line. Second measure, cross out the F and replace it with E elephant for 1 count. Here we go again. Over the C for Ven, put your F back in. So you're going to be playing a B and a C in the one hand and an E and an F in the other hand, using different fingers. So it will be a coordination exercise. Now, the last 3 notes of the line, 4 little, each note gets its own chord. Over the E, E, elephant. Over the F, F, fish. Over the G, C, chicken. Watch out for that one. Let's go to the top of the next page. Top line is full of chords. Over that long A, beat 1. Put an F, fish, for 2 counts. Beat 3 of that measure, F7, which is E flat and F. Always the letter minus 2 for 7s. Second measure, first beat over that whited in, dotted half note, D minor, dinosaur minor, which would be D and F. Beat 3, which is in the middle of the measure, B flat, butterfly flat. Last measure of that line, over the C for heaven, put a F, fish. Third beat of that measure, over the A for the word for, put an A, alligator. Most of these chords are just very simple, but it's a matter of coordinating, and especially when you're going along at 128 beats a minute. That does give it a good clip. Okay, let's go to line 2 on the third page. You may put a 7 on the D minor, C, D, F. You may put a 7 on the G minor, F, G, B flat. Cross out the C and replace it with plain old F, fish. And over the B flat, which is the beat 4, put a B flat minor, D flat and B flat, dinosaur flat and butterfly flat. Line 3, the F chord is good for 3 counts. Beat 4 over the G for the word wood. Put in a C or C7. C7 is chicken and flat butterflies, not fat butterflies. Flat butterflies. Cross out the C7 and replace it with F, fish, for 2 counts. Over the G for the word boys, put your C or C7 back in. And that's it for that line. 4th line, cross out the C and replace it with B, butterfly, for 1 count. Over the C for Ven, beat 2, put your C or C7 back in, C and B flat. 3rd measure, cross out the F and replace it with E, elephant, for 1 count. Over the C for Ven, go back to your F, fish. 4th line, last measure. Over that whited in, dotted half note, put a C augmented, A-U-G. That's again, there's that 3-fingered chord. C, E, G sharp. Chickens, elephants, and sharp giraffes. Beat 3 of that measure, which is in between the notes, right in the middle of the measure. Go back to your plain old F, fish. All right, the last line, cross out the C and replace it with plain old B, butterfly, for 1 count. Over the C for Ven, now put your C or C7 back in. C7 is C and B flat. Next measure, over the G, put a G minor or a G minor 7, which would be F, G, and B flat. And over the A, C or C7, which would be C and B flat, chickens and flat butterflies, and then end on F. Any questions? Anybody get lost?
Yes, can you go over line number 4 again, please?
Line 4 of the 3rd page?
Yes.
Okay, cross out the C and replace it with B, butterfly, for 1 count. Over the C for Ven, beat 2, put your C or C7 back in. The 3rd measure of that line, cross out the F and replace it with E, elephant. And over the C for Ven, put the F back in. And that last measure, first beat, is a C augmented, which is C, E, G sharp. And beat 3, which is in the middle of the measure, go back to plain old F. Got it?
Got it. Thank you.
You're
Dawn,
welcome.
can you do the first line again?
First line of which page?
Second page.
3rd page?
3rd page, yes.
Yes, okay. Over the A for girls, F, plain old fish for 2 counts. Beat 3 is F7, E flat, and F. 2nd measure, over the whited in, dotted half note, D minor, dinosaurs and fish. Beat 3 of that measure in between the notes is a B flat, butterfly flat. The last measure of that line is over the C, play an F, fish, and over the A, 3rd beat, over the word 4, put in an A, alligator.
Thank you.
Got it?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dawn,
Yes?
last line on 2nd page.
Mm-hmm.
Could you give me that line, please?
Yes, ma'am. Last line on page 2. 2nd measure, cross out the F and replace it with E, elephant, for 1 count. Over the C, dotted half note, put your F back in, plain old fish. And the last measure on that page, over the E, E, elephant. Over the F, F, fish. And over the G, C, chicken.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. Let's do some fingering. Now, if your fingers feel like doing other things, it's okay to erase mine and put your own in as long as you don't stumble around and have some issues. Okay? So my fingering is there as a guide to get you started. If you can't do it or you like your own better, absolutely feel free to erase mine and put mine in. There is no law for this. I made C a 1, B 2 with a circle. Cross that one over. Then put your 1 right back down on the C. So you're going to be doing one of these. You're crossing over your pointer and putting your thumb right back down. 1, 2, 1. Let's go to for little. E2, F3, G4. Second line, A5. G4, G4, F3, F3, G4, G4, F3, F3, E2, E2, D1. Fourth line, the C sharp, make it a 2 and put a circle around it. You're going to cross that one over. And then put your 1 right back down on the D. So again, you're doing this. A 2, 1, it's a 1, 2, 1. For little girls, F sharp 2, G3, A4, C5. Watch that. You have to skip a note. So you may have to look down. Levon's coming in. Come on in, Levon. Thank you for your patience. Let's go to the second page. B flat 4, B flat 4. A3, A3, G2, G2, E1, E1, D2 with a circle. You're crossing it over. C1. F2, F2, G3, G3, A4. A4, G3, G3, F2, A4, G3, F2, G3, F2. Fourth line, A4, F2, G3, F2. A4, G3, G3, F2. A4, G3. Last line on that page, C1, B2 with a circle, C1. You're doing that same movement every time you start that phrase. That's so you have enough fingers left over to play the rest of the notes. E2, F3, G4, A5. At the end of that held A, put a check mark. You're going to lift your hand and start a new phrase with a new finger. B flat 3, C4, A2, 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 F1, F1, A2, B flat 3, A2, B flat 3, B natural 4. Watch that. C5, B flat 4, A3, F1, F1, G2, A3, F1, G2, F1. At the end of that held F, you're at the end of a sentence. Put a check mark. C2, B1, C2. Now, if you feel like doing the crossover thing, you may do so, but we don't have to worry about getting up to a lot of high notes. So if it's easier for you to do the C2, B1, C2, and just do it this way, that's fine. Fourth line, B1, C2, C2, B1, C2, C2,
Oh,
B1.
where you lost me.
We lost
Uh-oh.
Okay, go back to the one.
the fourth line, please.
Fourth line. Okay, fourth line. B1, C2.
Yep.
C2, B1, C2, C2. Last line. B1, C2, check mark, unless you have super, super long fingers. Make the C quarter note for the word four a 1, G4, A5, and I made the F a 1 and put that little squiggly line in between the A and the F so I could do a finger roll. Finger rolls are just fun. And you're just going to grab every note in between and just roll your fingers. And it makes almost like a glissando, but it's a lot of fun to try that. So that's just nice. I do that a lot at the end of songs. I do that sometimes in the middle of songs. That's just one of the little fill-ins that I like to use. And it makes you sound really good. And it looks really fancy. And it's not hard. It's something really easy that you can do. Okay, any questions about fingering? Yes, no, maybe? Okay, the hardest part of this song is that it goes fairly quickly. It's 128 beats per minute. And with all the extra chords, you do have to coordinate left and right hand. So that's the big deal here. I am going to play it a second time, and I'm going to use swing and sway. Swing and sway. So it's going to have a different feeling. I really like the song setup, but we're going to try something a little different here. So anything that's going to make it nice and light and bouncy is going to be fine on that. But my favorite on that is the jingle jangles. So for those of you that don't have jingle jangles on their instruments, see me after class. Yes, I'll make sure you get that.
Hey, Dawn,
Okay. Yeah,
Jingle Jangle comes under Broadway.
Broadway. Yes.
144?
Yeah, but slow it down to 128.
Okay.
And check your song setup, because this should come up in song setup if you have it at 128. And then it comes up to piano strings. But it does come up with kind of like a Christmassy type of a sound if you just go to Jingle Jangles underneath the Broadway and use your rhythm preset. Don't be afraid to try those, by the way. There's always lots of fun with that. Okay, do we have time for Supercala? I think we do. Now, why are we skipping summertime? Because I want to spend the entire hour on summertime next week. Okay? Now, supercalifragilistic. I thought this was a made-up name. I really did. But guess what? It's a real word. Who knew? I was a kid when this came out. This is a song from the 1964 Disney musical Mary Poppins, sung by Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke. As a matter of fact, I think this was the very first movie that we actually went out on the town, and my parents took us out to the movie theater. Ooh, but we weren't allowed to have any popcorn. We only could just sit and watch the movie. So, but it brings back lots of memories, and I absolutely have good childhood memories of Mary Poppins. This is number 36 in AFI's 100 Years, 100 Songs. And Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is actually a compound word. So I learned some stuff researching this. Super means above. Cali means beauty. Fragilistic means exactly what you would think, delicate. Expiali means to atone. I didn't know that. Docious means educable. Educable, okay, which means you can educate it. So the whole meaning actually comes out to atoning for educability through delicate beauty. There you go. So why do you need to know that? So that when you go on Jeopardy, you now know the answers. And that's the only reason to know all of that good stuff. All right. Oxford English Dictionary first records the word in 1931, which is a long time before the musical ever came out. It implies something that is grand, great, glorious, splendid, superb, and wonderful. So that's why they use this in the musical. It is a real word. And it comes up on song setup on the ballroom polka at 128 beats per minute, but I'm going to play it double time, 240, because that's how you have to play it. So you got to play this fast. And it comes up with a sound called the pizza organ. I think this is just one of the coolest sounds that's in the organ. So let's try.
You've got to be kidding.
This is just one of those fun songs that some of you are going to try and some of you are going to say, yeah, right. I do have a few extra chords in here to make it even harder, but the one thing I did want to point out here is that when you get to the diddle little eyes, you can cheat. You can cheat and just find a sound and just go diddle little diddle eye, diddle little diddle eye. Just play one note per measure, and you're going to be fine. Okay, now how did I do it? I used a trick that a lot of organists play, and I think Diane actually taught me this one, where I take my two fingers, my pointer and my thumb, and I bounce it on the same key. So I'm just taking those two fingers and bouncing them on the same key.
Could you fake it?
Yeah, you could just play one note per measure. And especially if you've got that pizza organ, it's got that repeat on it anyway, so it's going to give you that feeling of the repetition, of finger aerobics, yes. But no, you can cheat right through it, so no worries. Let's give you some extra chords here. Why? Because I can, but you don't need them, especially because it goes very, very quickly. For those of you that want this as the challenge, the C chord is good for one measure. Over the A for fragile, put in a C major 7, which is C and B, chickens and butterflies. Then you can stay on that chord for the next measure, or you can go to a C6. Now, sixes have to be in root position, meaning the letter of the chord must be on the bottom. So it's a 4-fingered chord. C, E, G, and A. If
Where
you
do you
don't
put
want to
the-
play it, don't play it.
Where do you put the C6?
Over X, over the G for X, first beat of the third measure.
Gotcha.
And then beat 3 over the A for L, C sharp diminished, which is G, C sharp and G. So you'd be going from this, let's get that easy button back on, this to that. You could just leave your pointer, if you're using your pointer for the G, or you could be playing it like this and you're just going to move some fingers over. Those two chords in succession are actually pretty easy to play as long as you figure out the chords first. You absolutely want to do that. Second line, you may put 7s on both of the D minors, making them C, D, F, or not. The third line, second measure over loud, put a C major 7, C and B. Or just stay on C, because that's where you are. If you play a major 7, then put a box around the C7 over always to make sure you play the C7, which is C and B flat. Let's go to the next line. Fourth line, the first measure, third beat. Over the B for Cal, C diminished, which is C and F sharp. If you don't feel like playing that one, skip it. Second measure, the C is good for 3 counts. Over the E for tick, put a C sharp diminished. If you don't feel like playing it, skip it. The next one, you can actually cross out the D minor and play G7 for the entire measure, or if you want to challenge yourself, do the D minor G7 to C. That's one of the world's most common chord progressions. Or just do G7 for the whole measure and then C for the last measure. Chord changes for the diddle littles? None. Just play the C's and the G7s. Let's go to the second page, second line, second measure. Over the A for frayed, C major 7, C and B, chickens and butterflies. Third measure, over the G for I, put in a C6. And over the A for just, put in a C sharp diminished. Just like we did on line 1 of the first page. Third line, you may put 7s on the 2 D minors, or not. Fourth line, second measure. Over the A for learned, C major 7, C and B. Put a box around the C7 so you remember to play it, C and B flat. And that's it. Now there is a little bit of a roadmap. You play both pages. At the bottom of the second page, you have 2 thin lines and some instructions. And it says, D, C, al fine. Da capo al fine. That means go back to the beginning of the song and play until you find the word fine, which means end. Fine does not mean, yes, Joe, you played it absolutely fine, even though you probably did. It means final or finale, fine, the end, the end. You're going to go back to the beginning and play the first 4 lines, and there you have the fine at the end of line 4. Got it? As far as fingering, let's do that quickly. I don't expect all of you to even want to play this song, but it is kind of fun.
Oh, yeah.
E1, G2, 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 A3, G2, G2, E1, G2, G2, A3, G2, G2, F1, G2, 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 A3, G2, G2, D1, G2, G2, A3, G2, G2, E1. Third line, G2, 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 A3, G2, 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 C4, C4, D5, C4, C4, A2. Little check mark if you wish. A3, C5, B4, A3, C5, G2, G2, E1. This line here is probably the hardest line in the entire song. G2, G sharp 3, A1 with a circle. You got to do a tuck under there, but it's always easier to tuck under when you've already got a finger on a black key. B2, C3, C3. Now the diddle littles we already talked about. You can do 1 and 2. Kind of like doing a Morse code with these two fingers. Or you can just play your thumb on the first G. Diddle little little diddle I, diddle little diddle I, and just play it on the first beat of each measure, and you're good. Let's pick up the fingering again on the second page, second line. E1, G2, 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 A3, G2, G2, E1, G2, G2, A3, G2, F1, G2. Third line, G2, 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 and in case I forgot one, G2, A3, G2, G2, D1, G2, G2, A3, G2, E1, G2. Fourth line, guess what the G's are? They're all 2s. G2, 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 A3, G2, 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 C4, C4, D5, C4, A2, 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 B3, A2, 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 D5, C4, B3, A2, G1, check mark. Then the next G is a 2.
Beating
I'm
the
gonna
hell out of
play-
that G key.
Pardon?
You're beating the hell out of that G key.
Oh, yes. Okay. Now, what do you play this on if you don't have ballroom polka? Traditional full band will give you, on the smaller instruments, will give you a march polka, and that's what you're looking for. Any of your polkas are going to be fine at 120. And remember, you're not playing it at 120, you're playing it at 240. So if you need to slow it down, or if you want to play it in single time would be like this. Let's get this set up again. That's just playing it in the time that it comes up. Now, if you're going to play it in double time, so it's as fast as they were singing it in the movie, you just count it double. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. one's just for fun. That's just your bonus song for the day. That one's just for fun. Next week we will go back and we will pick up Summertime. And I know we've had that in other classes as well. But there's some pretty advanced things that we can get into if we want to. Remember, you're right on the border of being intermediate advanced in this class. So you're allowed to play them or not. So no worries. Oh yes, my advanced classes, I make them play the chords. No, no. Any questions about anything? Nope, you're good? You've got some challenges ahead of you because you have some finger exercise type things in Thank Heaven for Little Girls. And then you most definitely have some finger exercises if you wish to go into supercalifragilistic. Okay. And we're right on time. We are good to go. All right, excellent. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Let me know. If you want to order a book, make sure I know. David, I have remembered. I will go forward you that Liberty email right now. If you need anything, 5028@fletchermusic.com. That's my email. I answer every email that gets sent to me, so don't hesitate. I'll be more than happy to help you out with any question you have. All right, until next week, I love you
Thank
guys.
Ben.
You.
Have a
Have a good
great weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for
Bye.
everything, Dawn.